Okay guys, so this is the final lesson in the little sequence we've been working on, which has been about introducing you to an exam task if you're in year 10, working through one together for those of you in year 11, building up your confidence and understanding of how the exam task works, ready for after Easter when we can, really embed that. I haven't started with our usual little activities today where we do something retrieval based and some kind of memorisation task, which is because we've now got Quizlet set up for you for that kind of thing, which I think is much more effective, an online platform specifically created for you to practice memorising things. So this platform can obviously be for that more extended work you need talking through. Bo, my little dog, is not enjoying lockdown and is moaning a little bit. So apologies if you can hear her in the background. So the exam task we've been working on then is this one. How Shakespeare presents ideas about consequences faced by individuals. The first thing we did was we generated some ideas about what the consequences are, and we wrote a GST introduction to the exam question. We just wanted to set out some big ideas that we intend to prove in the rest of the response. We picked out some lines from the play or some things that happen in the play that are relevant to this idea of consequences. And then once we'd picked out some lines, we started the process of writing the essay. And as I explained in the last session, I'm very there's not only one way to do an essay, but I'm quite logical in my thought processes. So I like to start at the beginning of the play, identify what Shakespeare sets up, or the writer of any writer sets up at the beginning, and then work through it in a kind of sequential order. The writer obviously chose to put the text in a certain sequence. So for me, it makes sense to understand their ideas in the sequence they intended, rather than to write an essay that goes all over the place. So we started by writing the introduction of Macbeth at the beginning. Then we got into analysing a textual detail, one from quite early in the play that shows immediate consequences, i.e. Macbeth's guilt. There's loads of lines we could have picked for that, but I picked out the one about his sleep to analyse. And then lastly, I asked you to write the next paragraph, which was taking the line "full of scorpions is my mind," that lovely metaphor, and I asked you to just try a practice go of writing a paragraph, following the structure I had been through to write your own paragraph. Which means the last thing, the next step that we need to do is the last section of our essay, which is, in this instance, going back to the extract. So the extract, which was from Act 5, Scene 5, we can obviously now have to say something about that. So the passage which was on the exam task, we know came from Act 5, Scene 5. Macbeth has just discovered that Lady Macbeth has died. He's about to face the army of Malcolm and Macduff, and is feeling a sense of kind of despair, really. He's still pretty resolute that he's going to fight to the end, but he's lost any sense of value or purpose in his life. So we need to make sure we need to write one last paragraph for our response in which we ensure that we engage with the extract. So I started the last paragraph with "at the beginning of the play." I asked you to start your paragraph with "later in the play." So fairly predictably, we're going to write this third paragraph with "at the end of the play." We've got a nice clear sequence through the essay then. Macbeth, so we can start to talk about him as a character. And really, the thing with Macbeth at the end is obviously that sense that he has lost a sense of purpose and value, and is in a just sense of grief at the loss of his wife, but unable really to process that because of the context. So we just want to kind of convey all that. So at the end of the play, Macbeth is presented as a smaller, shall we go with, version of the hero he was at the beginning. In Act 5, Scene 5, he is waiting to face the army of Malcolm and Macduff, when he discovers that his wife has died. He becomes nihilistic. Go with that word, we've used it before. At this point, delivering a powerful soliloquy. Soliloquy is just a solo speech for those of you who aren't familiar with that term. Delivering a powerful soliloquy in which he reflects on the pointlessness of life. So I've given an overview of the section, and I think that's really important. We don't want to just jump in to pick a line from the section. Now, of course, in the exam, the section might be hard, and you may not be sure what to say to give it an overview. But if you can give an overview of where this section comes into play and what it reveals about Macbeth, what it reveals in relation to the question, it's a really good idea. So, at the end of the play, Macbeth is presented as a smaller version of the hero he was at the beginning. In Act 5, Scene 5, he is waiting to face the army of Malcolm Macduff when he discovers that his wife has died. He becomes nihilistic at this point, delivering a powerful soliloquy in which he reflects on the pointlessness of life. Now we can start to go in for a specific line. So we can say, perhaps the most poignant line comes at the end. So I'm trying to justify really why I picked that line over any other. And then exactly the same sentence structure we used last time to introduce a quotation. So we start with the name of the character who says the words. So obviously it's Macbeth. Then we use an embedded clause when we say when he says the line. And obviously it happens after learning of Lady Macbeth's death. After learning of his wife's death. Tells, and obviously it's a soliloquy, so we must tell the audience. Tells the audience. And then we need the line. And the line we picked was the one that he says, life is a tale, or it is a tale, told by an idiot, full of sign and fury, signifying nothing. Don't necessarily need the whole line, that's quite a lot to write out. So we'll start with paraphrasing it, so I won't put quote marks. Tells the audience that life is and then as soon as I start quoting actual words, I must put it in quote marks. So tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And obviously now we've said who said it, when they said it, who they said it to, and we've quoted the line, we can then say what we can infer as an audience. And obviously we can infer that Macbeth, not feeling quite very happy, is he? Macbeth, really in a dark place right now, and has lost his sense of hope. So we can say, which leads the audience to infer that Macbeth no longer considers life to have value. He has caused that by choosing to pursue power. Okay, let's have a look then. So, perhaps the most poignant line comes at the end. Macbeth, after learning of his wife's death, tells the audience that life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sign and fury, signifying nothing, which leads the audience to infer that Macbeth no longer considers life to have value. He has caused that by choosing to pursue power. I don't think that quite makes sense. Let's add a line there. Maybe we'll add in here, it is worth noting that he has caused that. Yeah, it just makes the phrasing work a bit better. Now we can zoom in on a word. We can obviously say in particular. And exactly the same as in the last paragraph that we went through together, we have to talk about individual words. So we can perhaps talk about the use of the word nothing. Really, it is that word nothing, isn't it? He's using the metaphor of a story, but suggesting that there's no point to it. So we could say, in particular, the word nothing is significant, as Macbeth has used a metaphor comparing life to a story, but rather bleakly suggests that there is no value to life, and all of the suffering and anger is ultimately meaningless. Okay, so we've just now got time to write our final sentence, which is obviously then to try and go big, a tentative intent sentence, in order to try and go to those bigger ideas. So again, we'll use the same structure as before so that you get familiar with one structure. It seems that Shakespeare has included this detail. 2, intent verb, shows is banned, reveal, warn, critique, whatever. So we can say to reveal, in this case, the harmful, let's get that word consequences in here, harmful consequences of pursuing power without morality. It seems that Shakespeare has included this detail with the harmful consequences of pursuing power without morality. Macbeth, Macbeth, let's type in it, Macbeth has revealed too late that what gives life value is love and friendship and respect, not status and power. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do here is just try and link this to the context. We'll look at this more when we do future sessions, but linking to the time period I think is really important. So we can say written at a time when regicidal plots were an issue for James I. This seems to be a powerful warning that only a legitimate king can be a successful ruler. So we've started to try and make some tentative links between text and context. Okay, so I'm going to run out of time on this video session. As I say, rather than doing work today, tasks today, can you have a look at the Quizlet? Because that's what we'd like to do. Get familiar with that. Use the tasks that have been set on there already. Sign yourself up. And then we'll pick up this again after Easter. I will put on Show My Homework an exam task so that those of you who feel that you'd like to have a go can. I don't expect you to, because I've only shown you once, and you need to see this several times and practice in chunks to get the hang of it. But if you want to have a go at writing an essay, there'll be one on Show My Homework for you. Please, as always, send any work you do to your teacher, because they'll be able to manage the mark load, whereas if I try and mark everything, I won't be able to get back to you. Have a fabulous Easter, guys. Keep revising, but there won't be these set sessions in the same way. And then after the Easter break, we'll be back on it with these video lessons. If there's anything in particular that you want me to cover, email me and I will endeavour to do so. Thanks, guys.